Welcome to Arses. Today's story. AITA for telling my husband I wanted to stay behind with our daughter instead of moving to Morocco right away like he wants. Me, 21F, and my husband, 30M, have been married for 2 years and recently had a huge fight that left me feeling really guilty and confused. I love him deeply and I know he's hurt, but I also don't know if I was wrong for what I said. Here's some context. Before we got married, he said to me and my parents he might want to move to Morocco in about 10 years. I said maybe, that I'd be open to it. But then, that maybe in 10 years turned into 5 years, and now he wants us to move this February. He has a business in Morocco, and his family is there, so we've visited a lot. I'm not crazy about it. Culturally, it's very different and I feel out of place. But I can see the financial benefits. Life's cheaper there. We could afford private school for our daughter who is 11 months, and he could provide everything, including a maid to help me out. I really do see how it could be good for us. At the same time, the promises keep changing. First it was 10 years, then 5, now 6 months. He also originally said we'd move to a big city, then changed it to a small city where his family is just for a few years, and now says we might move to the big city later. It feels like I can't rely on what he says, and that makes me nervous. After we got married, he asked what I'd need to feel okay moving, and I just kept avoiding the conversation because I changed my mind and I'd hoped he would forget about it. But he's relentless about planning. I was pregnant while I was fresh out of a part-time job in the UK to go to Morocco for a few months for business. I went with him then, and he promised when we came back he said he'd find a job again that it would be easy for him too. But he only looked for a bit and decided his business was doing well enough that he didn't need one. Look. Yo, already I'm getting some major red flags here, you guys, like, hold up. This man went from maybe in 10 years to we're moving in February, and nobody's supposed to question that? Nah, bro, that's not how marriage works. And can we talk about the age gap for a second? She's 21, he's 30. They've been married for 2 years, so she was 19 when they got married. And now they have an 11-month-old baby? The math is mathing, but it's giving me the ick, not gonna lie. But wait, it gets worse. This man literally said, "Oh, don't worry about finding a job when we come back," and then just decided his business was doing well enough without consulting his wife, who has a baby to feed. The audacity is astronomical. I've been married for 8 years myself, and let me tell you something. When one person makes unilateral decisions about the family's entire future, that's not a partnership, that's a dictatorship. And this girl is 21 years old, trying to navigate this mess while taking care of a baby. My heart goes out to her, for real. He used to give me £200 a month as spending money. Now that I have a small business, which he helped me start, I pay £400 a month toward rent. I make around £1,000 a month. So with the rent coming up, I've been putting off talking about Morocco. But literally yesterday, because I got scared, I told him that there are some things I'm bringing up that he broke his promise about, saying things like, things change, or you made promises before marriage too, which feels like he's comparing apples to oranges. He also says things like, I'm the husband, what I say goes, and uses religion to back that up. I try to calmly say that's not how it works, and just drop it before it turns into a fight. Finally, I realized I do have some terms under which I'd feel more comfortable moving, so we sat down for a talk. Maybe I wasn't the best way, but I told him after suggestion he was going against his original promise by speeding it up. I told him first that I love him, that this isn't me against him, but about finding a solution that works for both of us. I said one option could be staying in the UK for now, and he goes to Morocco to build things up in a year just so he could keep the promise he made about my dad about waiting 5 years. We live with his family and save money to buy a nice place there. I told him I thought this would make my sister offer me the option to seem more reasonable, and he would be happier with it overall, which probably shows my age and my naivete, but I thought it was a good idea. He was silent. So I moved to option 2. Me staying just 1 more year here, learning the language, building more support, saving some money. I didn't even get to explain the reasoning properly, because I rushed through it after seeing he wasn't reacting. Oh, hell no. Hold up. Did this man just say, I'm the husband, what I say goes, and try to use religion to back up his controlling behavior? You guys, I cannot even. This is giving me secondhand rage right now. This is not how healthy marriages work. This is not how religion works. This is straight up emotional manipulation and financial control wrapped up in a pretty little bow. Let me break this down for you. She went from getting £200 spending money to paying £400 rent out of her £1,000 income. So now she's paying 40% of her income in rent while he's the one pushing for this move. That's not partnership, that's exploitation. The way she's trying so hard to be reasonable, suggesting compromises, trying to find middle ground, speaking so carefully about her feelings. Meanwhile, this man is just sitting there silent when she's pouring her heart out trying to save their marriage. As someone who's been in relationships where I felt like I had to walk on eggshells, this hits different. She's 21 years old, isolated from her support system, financially dependent with a baby, and this man is using every tool in the manipulation playbook. The religious angle especially pisses me off because I know plenty of religious people who would be horrified by this behavior. Using faith to justify control is not worship, it's abuse. Period. I asked him what he was thinking and told him it was okay to talk. He said it would be easier if someone stabbed him in the back twice than to hear what I said. He told me that if I could be away from him and take our daughter away for that long, it proves I don't know him, that he'd rather be together forever than go here. He took off his ring. That was too much. I kept pleading with him to stay and talk, but he calmly said, "I can't right now," and left. He went to a meeting with his friends that was already scheduled, and I think he'll be back by 8 p.m. tonight. I feel awful. My mom says he's being immature, that he broke the original promise and is acting like a victim, but I also feel like he's really hurt. She also doesn't like him much because of some stuff that happened after I gave birth, so I'm not sure she's being objective. A few other important things. Our daughter was a surprise. I was on the implant, but a very happy one. I worry that once we move, I'll lose the freedom I have here. Morocco isn't exactly known for its feminism, and I'm scared that some of the progress we've made in our relationship will go backwards. But if he and our daughter go without me, I don't know what to do now. I feel like I hurt him, but I also don't know if I was wrong to say what I said or the asshole. Edit. Please help me. What should I do once he gets back? I don't actually know what to say once he's back from being out. Okay, so deep breath. This man really took off his wedding ring and walked out because his wife suggested reasonable compromises? Are you kidding me right now? You guys, this is emotional manipulation 101. The dramatic ring removal, the you don't know me guilt trip, the it would be easier if someone stabbed me, this is textbook manipulation. He's making her feel guilty for having perfectly valid concerns about uprooting their entire life. And can we talk about what her mom said about stuff that happened after she gave birth? That's a whole red flag parade right there. What kind of man causes problems for his 21-year-old wife who just had a baby? I'm getting more and more concerned about this situation. But here's what really gets me. She's sitting there asking, am I the asshole? When this man is using every manipulation tactic in the book. She's so gaslit that she thinks she's wrong for wanting to checks notes, learn the language of the country they're moving to, and build a support system. The audacity. The fact that she's worried about losing her freedom in Morocco shows she knows exactly what this move really means. She's 21 with a baby, and she's about to be isolated in a country where she doesn't speak the language, doesn't have support, and where women have fewer rights. And when she tries to voice these concerns, her husband throws a tantrum and storms out. This isn't love, you guys. This is control. And the fact that she's asking what to say when he gets back breaks my heart, because she shouldn't have to manage his emotions when he's the one acting like a child. Look, I need to be real with you guys right now. This story is hitting me hard because I see what's happening here, and I don't think OP sees it yet. This man has been systematically isolating and controlling her from the beginning. Think about the timeline. She was 19 when they got married, he was 28. That's not automatically problematic, but combined with everything else, it's a pattern. He made promises he never intended to keep. The maybe in 10 years became 5 years, then 6 months. He's testing boundaries, seeing how much he can push before she pushes back. And when she finally does push back with reasonable compromise suggestions, he has a meltdown. The financial control is subtle, but real. She went from receiving spending money to paying rent out of her small income, while he makes unilateral decisions about their business and future. That's not how equal partnerships work. And the religious manipulation, I'm the husband, what I say goes, that's not biblical, that's just patriarchal control disguised as faith. I know plenty of religious couples who make decisions together with mutual respect and love. But here's what really scares me about this situation. She's asking what to say when he gets back. She's been conditioned to think his emotional outbursts are her responsibility to fix. That's not healthy, you guys. When someone suggests reasonable compromises and your response is to throw a tantrum, take off your wedding ring, and storm out, you're not hurt. You're controlling. You're using emotional manipulation to get your way. The fact that her mom mentioned stuff that happened after she gave birth is sending chills down my spine. New mothers are vulnerable. They need support. And if he was causing problems then, that tells you everything about his character. And her fear about losing freedom in Morocco? That's not paranoia, that's intuition. She knows what this move really means. Complete isolation from her support system, financial dependence, cultural barriers, and legal systems that don't protect women the same way. I've seen this pattern before, guys. The gradual escalation of control, the isolation from family and friends, the financial manipulation, the emotional outbursts when boundaries are set. This isn't about Morocco. It's about power and control. You guys, I'm gonna be straight with you. This isn't about whether she's the asshole for wanting to stay in the UK for another year. This is about a 21-year-old new mother being systematically controlled and manipulated by a man who's supposed to love and protect her. The Morocco thing is just the vehicle. It could be any major life decision. The pattern would be the same. Make promises, change the terms, use emotional manipulation when questioned, and make her feel guilty for having reasonable concerns. Let me tell you what I think she should say when he gets back. We need couples counseling before we make any major decisions about our future. Because healthy couples don't operate like this. They don't have one person making unilateral decisions while the other person tiptoes around trying not to upset them. But honestly, I'm worried he won't agree to counseling, because controllers don't want neutral third parties pointing out their behavior. They prefer to keep their partners isolated and doubting themselves. The age gap, the quick marriage, the baby, the financial control, the emotional manipulation, the religious justification for dominance, the family's concerns, the isolation from support systems. This is a textbook case of an abusive relationship. And the scariest part is she doesn't see it yet. When you're 21 with a baby, and your main concern is whether you're being reasonable for wanting to learn a language before moving to a foreign country, you've been so gaslit that up is down and down is up. Her instincts are screaming at her. That's why she's scared about losing her freedom. That's why she keeps suggesting compromises. That's why she reached out to Reddit. But she's been conditioned to doubt those instincts. To any young women watching this, if your partner uses phrases like, "I'm the husband, what I say goes," if they change major life plans without consulting you, if they make you feel guilty for having reasonable concerns, if they storm out when you try to communicate, those are not signs of love. Those are signs of control. Love doesn't isolate you from your support system. Love doesn't use religion to justify dominance. Love doesn't make unilateral decisions about your family's future. Love doesn't punish you with silent treatment and dramatic exits when you express valid concerns. OP. 0 out of 5 buttholes. Girl, you are not the problem here. Your concerns are valid, your compromises were reasonable, and your instincts are trying to protect you. Husband. 5 out of 5 buttholes. The manipulation, control, emotional outbursts, financial exploitation, and using religion to justify dominance. This man is waving more red flags than a communist parade. Final question. What would you tell your daughter if she came to you at 21 with this exact situation? Would you want her to move to a foreign country with a man who throws tantrums when she asks for reasonable compromises? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you're in a situation like this, please reach out to someone you trust. You deserve better than walking on eggshells in your own marriage.